Alright, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to go over basically how to use Inventor, the very basics of it, what you'll do once you're done installing it, and I'll show you a little bit of the stuff you can actually do with it. So, well, I'll actually show you a part that I've made, and we'll also go into the very beginning steps of making parts. Okay? So, once Inventor's installed, you'll have this icon. Just going to double click that and it'll open up. Depending on how fast your processor is and how much RAM you have on your computer, it could take anywhere from a couple seconds to possibly even 2 minutes to open. It's a fairly large program, so you got to give it some time. Once it's open, it'll look like this. All you're going to do is once you come to this, you're going to basically just create a new part. So you can do that one of two ways. You can do it from right here, or you can drop down this menu and select a new part from here. So I'm going to click New. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is pick standard inch IPT. You know, we live in the United States, so it's inches. IPT is just a part, so it's your basic building block, and standard is just the very basic of designs that you'll build off of. So we're just going to open that up, and it will take a second. But once it's open, you come to this window. You can maximize it. Now this is your build space. It's all gridded out to help you design when you're doing sketches. And you can also, once you have a 3D part, you can change your views, which is really nice. Over here you have the hand tool, which allows you to drag. You have this, which is, you know, just zooming in and out. It's like a magnifying glass. This tool, as long as you click with inside this bubble, once you have it on, you can manually rotate the figure. So rather than snapping to like a edge view or a corner view, you can actually manually move the part to whatever specific, you know, look you want. And then this thing is just kind of like a quick tool. You can orbit it, you can zoom. It's basically all of these features, but you kind of have it in this little bubble. Okay. So we'll go back to a front view here. So when you start out a part, this is what you're going to come to. And the first thing you do when you make any part is you're going to do a sketch. Today we'll start really simple. We'll just make a square. Now you can do that one of two ways. You can do it with the line tool, and with the line tool you'll make each individual edge by itself. So right now you can see it's saying that we have 180 degrees from this line, which is like those grid lines that I told you about, meaning that it's a perfectly straight line. And then over here you have a distance. Now you can manually do this and just click it, or you can actually type in how long you want it to be. So let's say I want it to be 1 inch. So now that line is exactly 1 inch. If you want to zoom in and zoom out without using this tool, you can just use your scroll wheel. That's what I'm doing right now. So that's one edge. And then this time, let's not make this one perfectly 1 inch. So we'll just click that there. And then we'll continue, make this one 1 inch, and then reconnect back to that. So now we have a rectangle. Now if we want to make this a square, what you're supposed to do is dimension. Now if you type in a number when you're making it, it'll automatically add that dimension to it. But another way you can do that is using a tool right here called the dimension tool. Now with this, you're going to basically click here on any line, and you're going to scroll up, and you're going to pull away from it. And that's telling you that this line from here to here is 0.762 inches long. Now if you want to modify that, you can just click on that. It's already automatically in inches, so you don't have to worry about leaving the IN there. And you can just say 1. Now this line is 1 inch. Now because of the way we designed it, when we were making those lines, and we had those little tools saying that we had a 90-degree angle here, if you know anything about geometry, because this is 1 inch and this is 1 inch, and all of these angles are 90 degrees, then this line and this line must also be 1 inch. Now to prove that, you can actually click and pull it away and it'll say 1 inch. However, it doesn't like allowing you to make that dimension, as you can see right here, because you're over constraining it. You're basically telling it something that it already knows. So you just say accept, and then, oops, delete that. Well, now it's just a reference line. It's not actually a real thing. But usually you would just say cancel. So now that you have this, you have your perfect square. Now another way you can do this is using the rectangle tool. So what we'll do is we'll delete these. You just click and delete. Oops, sorry, I'm still in the dimension tool. There we go. You can always hit escape if you want to exit out of a tool you're currently using. So now we'll delete these lines, and we'll use another method. This is the rectangle tool. So now with this, you can actually make a square or a rectangle much faster. So with this, you can just, once again, you can just click, and then you can go through and use the dimension tool to get what you want. Or you can enter it in manually. So right here, the one that's highlighted, we'll make that 1 just by pressing 1. And then to go to the next one, you just hit tab. And that automatically sets that line to 1, and then goes to this one to be edited. You also hit 1 there, and then you're just going to hit enter. And basically the same way we did it last time, but now we're using a different tool, and we also have a square. So that's the simplest method of making a square. Another thing we can do is we'll go and we'll make a circle. So once again, you just hit escape, and you can just delete these lines, and we'll go and we'll make a circle. Now another nice feature about this is when you're making different lines for a sketch, Autodesk has built in a tool system that when you want to center something, it'll center it on the center point of the original sketch. So you can already see that line here, and it'll snap right to it. So from there, we can make this circle. Now same way as before, you can type it in before, or you can dimension it after. It doesn't matter. So I'll type in 1, and that's that. And then if you want to dimension it, you can just, once again, just select the circle, pull away from it, and there you go. You have your 1 inch. And just like before, you can edit that by clicking on it. But because we already have a dimension here, it's going to yell at me again for over-constraining it. Now another nice feature is not only does it do the center point of the whole sketch, but let's say you wanted to make a line from the center point of another line. So let's say I drew this line right here, and I wanted to make another line directly in the center of that. See how that turned green? That means that it snapped to the exact center point of that line, and then I can make another line from there. This is kind of nice when you're trying to do things quickly. You're trying to make a very large sketch and you want to do it fast, and you don't want to have to constantly go through and dimension each thing. So this by itself, though there's not a dimension line, is actually dimensioned. It's saying that once you have that green line and you place this line, that this line is perfectly equal distance from this point and this point. So now we'll delete those. We can use this drag tool, which basically, as long as everything's highlighted, you can delete it. And drag again, that's highlighted, you can delete it. And that also speeds up making sketches. The last thing I'm going to show you today is extrusion. So now we have this circle, but let's say we wanted to make a cylinder. So to do this, we're going to say finish sketch, which tells the program we're done drawing whatever we want to draw. And we're going to use a tool called extrude. Now extrude, what you have to do is, if you only have one sketch, it'll usually automatically select it, which is really nice. Once again, speed things up. But let's say you hit extrude and this didn't automatically do this, then all you'd have to do is simply just take your pointer and select the sketch. It's that easy. Now we have what looks like a cylinder, but it's not actually there yet. And all we have to do is select how long we want it to be. So let's say 2 inches. And the nice thing is, it'll show you what it's going to look like before it actually does it. So it gives you a preview. Another thing you can do is you can do 2. So let's say you already have something built. With using the 2 tool, you can select an edge. So let's say we had like a square, a box over here. And we said we want this to extrude from this point to the same top of this box. So that way both your box and your cylinder would be the same length. And I'll show you that in future videos. And then you can also say between. So it's the same thing you would say between this side and this side of the box, and it would extrude it so that it's the exact same length of the box. And like I said, I'll show you that as well. You can also change the direction just by hitting this, so now it's going behind it. You can also say you want it to do on either side of it. So it'll extrude 2 inches this way and 2 inches this way. And then this tool is basically saying you're splitting that. So now you're saying I want to go 2 inches in this direction, but it's giving you another option to say how far you want to go in the other direction. So this is 2 inches this way, 1 inch that way. So now we have a 3-inch block. You hit OK, and now we have this perfect 3-inch long cylinder. So that's all I'm going to show you for today. The last thing I wanted to show you was something cool you can make. This is what I made when I was back in high school, right before I went up to tech. It's kind of hard to see because the way I designed it, I could only make it one solid color. But what you can do is you can actually design parts in ways where you can actually make each different, like extrusion, a different color. So as you can see from this is the Michigan Tech Husky logo. I have Michigan Tech here, I have the Husky, and I actually went and printed this on a 3D plotter and have it as like a real physical model, which is another useful thing you can do with this software. So that's all for today. As before, if you have any questions or you'd like me to make a video on something I haven't already done yet, feel free to leave a comment below or message me. And also subscribe and like. Thank you.